In last class, we have seen 1 point and 2 point Gauss quadrature to integrate a function within limits -1 to 1. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Now we are going to look at 3 point Gauss quadrature.
Yes.
3 point Gauss quadrature. So if we look at 3 point Gauss quadrature, then just give me a second. Yeah, I'm going to start 3 point Gauss quadrature is going to give you how many equations? So 3 point Gauss quadrature means I should be able to integrate f of x dx from -1 to 1 using 3 points. Do you agree with me? So w1 is the weight assigned with the first point. It is w1 into f of x1, happy, plus
Yes.
w2 into f of x2 and w3 into f of x3 plus w3 into f of x3, where w1, w2, w3 are the weights and x1, x2 and x3 are the points in domain -1 to 1 where we are calculating the value of function. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
This is my claim. So I can find out x1, x2, x3 and w1, w2, w3 in such a fashion that this identity holds. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, so देखो, how many unknowns are there? Can you tell me number of unknowns in this?
6 unknown.
Yeah, there are 6 unknowns. W1, x1, right? Then you have w2, x2, and w3, x3. There are 6 unknowns. So you are going to require how many equations?
6 equation.
So if you want to have 6 equation, you should have 6 coefficients on LHS and 6 coefficients on RHS to be equated. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
So what is the degree with which I will start this exercise? So if I consider f of x as the 5th degree polynomial, ax raised to 5, happy, plus
Yes, sir.
bx raised to 4 plus cx cube plus dx square plus ex
Yeah. Plus F.
plus f. If this is the polynomial, then only I can equate the coefficients of a, b, c, d, e, and f. So there are six equations. So therefore, my claim is 3 point Gauss quadrature will be able to exactly integrate polynomial of highest order 5. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
So let us establish that claim. So what is the procedure? Now I am going to tell you the procedure. We are not going to solve the equations. However, let us go through the procedure. So what does the claim say? The claim says that it's integration from -1 to 1 f of x dx. Can we integrate it from -1 to 1? Tell me.
Yes, sir.
Yes, integration is easy. This is going to be a x raised to 6 by 6, happy, plus
Yes.
b x raised to 5 by 5. This is the traditional integration, plus c x raised to 4 by 4 plus dx cube by 3, happy, plus
Yes, sir.
x square by 2 plus fx, happy.
Yes, sir.
This is the exact integration and this has to be within limits -1 to 1. Happy?
Yes, sir.
The moment I substitute the units as -1 to 1, all the odd power, even power functions are going to vanish. Do you agree with me? Because if I
Yes, sir.
substitute x raised to 6, 1 raised to 6 is 1, -1 raised to 6 also is 1. So you will have a by 6 minus a by 6. So that is going to vanish. Happy?
Yes, sir.
So let me scratch out all the terms that are going to vanish. This term vanishes. This term is going to vanish. This term is going to vanish. Happy?
Yes, sir.
However, all odd power terms will become double. So here we will have 2b by 3 plus, sorry, 2b by 5. I'm sorry, 2b by 5. This is not 3, this is 5. Plus 2d by 3 plus
2F.
this is what we are going to have. This is the exact integration.
Yes, sir.
Agreed? Can I also write it as 0a plus 2b by 5 plus 0c plus 2d by 3 plus 0e plus 2f, right?
Yes, sir.
This is the exact solution. And now what is my claim? My claim is this solution is got to be equal to w1 f of x1, w2 f of x2, w3 f of x3. इतना होना चाहिए. So can I write down f of x1, x2 and x3 here? Yes, I have to replace x by x1, x2, x3 respectively. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
And can I now collect coefficients of A? Yes. If I do this and collect coefficients of A, those are going to be W1 x1 raised to 5 plus W2 x2 raised to 5 plus W3 x3 raised to 5. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
So this is ought to be equal to W1 x1 raised to 5 plus W2 x2 raised to 5 plus W3 x3 raised to 5. Happy?
Yes, sir.
This multiplied by A. This is the coefficient of A. What is the coefficient of B? Coefficient of B will be W1 x1 raised to 4 plus W2 x2 raised to 4 plus W3 x3 raised to 4. Happy?
Yes, sir.
X1 raised to 4 plus W2 x2 raised to 4 plus W3 x3 raised to 4. This is the coefficient of B. Then what is the coefficient of C? यही सारी चीजें सिर्फ क्यूब लिखना पड़ेगा. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
So I will copy this itself, but then I will have to change this to cube. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Right?
Yes, sir.
This is going to be C. What are the coefficients of D? Same thing. I will have to replace 3 by 2 square. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
So this is going to be square. D and plus what is the next thing?
E.
EX. तो EX के लिए क्या करना पड़ेगा? I'm
Same
going to
equation.
select the
Power.
coefficients of X. So same thing, but with power 1. Happy?
Yes, sir.
Just a minute. Delete this times E. और F के लिए क्या करना पड़ेगा? F के लिए it is going to be W1 plus W2 plus W3. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
F common रहेगा बाहर and it will be W1 plus W2 plus W3. Happy?
Yes, sir.
F. Now, for these two to be equal, I will have to individually equate coefficients. So 0 must be equal to this term. 2 by 5 must be equal to the second term. Then C's coefficient, this one must be equal to 0. This coefficient must be equal to 2 by 3. E's coefficient must be equal to 0 and F's coefficient must be equal to 2. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
So we have 6 equations which are nonlinear in nature, but in 6 unknowns. We can solve them, and we are not going to solve them here. We are going to borrow the result. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
So let me take that 1 minute. 3 point cross quadrature. Yeah. Just a second. So when it is 3 point Gauss quadrature, uh, hmm, 1 minute. Just give me a second.
Yes,
Resume
sir.
recording. So x1, x2, x3, if you solve these equations, you will get x1, x2, x3 as minus 1 minute. Minus root 3 by 5. So Ganesh, can you calculate how much is minus root 3 by 5?
Yes, sir.
Give me the value up to 4th digit. Round it off up to 4th digit.
So 0.77459.
774.
459.
So there is 0.7746. Right?
So minus, sir.
So first one is minus. So these three x1, x2, x3, 3 points are minus root 3 by 5, 0, and plus root 3 by 5. And the weights associated with them are just a second. Let me also have a look at the weights. So weights associated are 5 by 9, 5 by 9, and 8 by 9. 5 by 9, 8 by 9, and 5 by 9. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
So let us try to work this out. Let us try to use the fifth order polynomial and let us try to integrate it. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
So let me take the polynomial. So these are examples. Let me take the polynomial f of x integration x raised to 5 minus 2x square plus 3x plus 9. Are you with me? And I want
Yes,
to
sir.
find out its integration from minus 1 to 1 dx. So this is integration minus 1 to 1 f of x dx. So what is f of x? F of x is this quantity. Happy?
Yes, sir.
So how do we evaluate this integral? Let us first do it the exact integration. So how much it is going to be? X raised to 6 by 6. Happy? Minus 2x cubed by 3. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Then you are going to have plus 3x square by 2. Happy? Plus 9x. And this integration is from minus 1 to 1. So when I substitute minus 1 here, all the even powers are going to go up. So this goes. So and all the odd powers become twice. So it is going to be minus 4 by 3 plus 18. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
So now LCM is 3. So 18 3s are 54. So 54 minus 4. So the answer is 50 by 3. Agreed?
Yes, sir.
Now let us do it from Gauss quadrature. How many points Gauss quadrature? 3 point Gauss quadrature. Happy?
Yes, sir.
3 point Gauss quadrature. So if I do that, so what is integration minus 1 to 1 f of x dx? Is nothing but f of x1. But what is x1? Minus root 3 by 5. है ना? So minus root 3 by 5. F of minus root 3 by 5. Associated with that weight is 5 by 9. So 5 by 9 into this plus 8 by 9 into f of 0. Happy? Plus
Yes.
5 by 9 into f of root 3 by 5. This is what is going to be the answer. So now let me substitute that. So it is going to be 5 by 9 into bracket. When I substitute x is equal to minus root 3 by 2. In this, what do I get? So it is better that we find out these values first. So let us find out what is f of minus root 3 by 5. Happy?
Yes, sir.
That will be equal to, this is x raised to 5. So that is root 3 by 5 minus root 3 by 5 raised to 5. Happy?
Yes, sir.
Then minus 2x square. So minus 2 root 3 by 5, but minus root 3 by 5 square plus 3x plus 3 into minus root 3 by 5. Happy?
Yes, sir.
और आगे क्या होगा? Plus 9.
Plus 9.
है ना? Can you tell me this value on calculator how much it is? Then also find out f of root 3 by 5. So replace everywhere minus sign by plus sign.
Yes, sir.
And tell me these two values quickly. 5.19
19 745.
745. Okay, and now do f of root 3 by 5. 10.0022.
40 225.
And now let us find out what is f of 0. So I will have to replace x by 0. So this will be plus 9. Do you agree with me?
Yes.
Yes. And now we also know the weights attached. So therefore, what is integration minus 1 to 1 f of x dx? This will be equal to, yeah, go ahead. So it's going to be 5 by 9. 5 by 9 multiplied by the first value, that is
1974
5.9745 plus 8 by 9
into 9.
9 plus 5 by 9 into 10.4045.
40.
So how much is this value? Tell me.
Yes.
How much?
16.666.
16.666.
666.
Is it equal to 50 by 3?
Yes, sir.
So we are getting this equal to the exact value. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
So therefore, we know that the three-point Gauss quadrature is going to give us the correct integration of function from -1 to 1 as long as it is having degree less than or equal to 5. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
Now I encourage you to do all the exercises that we did for earlier polynomials. Consider a polynomial of lower degree and you will be able to show that three-point Gauss quadrature gives the exact integration. Consider a polynomial of higher degree than 5, that is 6 degree. It will not give the exact value. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
So इसका मतलब क्या है? So let us come to this summary point. N-point Gauss quadrature. When I consider 1-point Gauss quadrature, I can exactly integrate a polynomial of order 1 from -1 to 1. If I go with the quadratic polynomial and try to integrate using 1-point Gauss quadrature, I am going to get an error. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Similarly, if I have 2-point Gauss quadrature, I can exactly integrate the polynomials of the order of 3 and less than 3. Cubic or lesser than cubic polynomials can be integrated exactly from -1 to 1 using 2-point Gauss quadrature. Happy?
Yes, sir.
When I go for 3-point Gauss quadrature, now I can integrate polynomials up to 5th order. समझ में आ रहा है?
Yes, sir.
So now in general, if you have n-point Gauss quadrature, so this means if you have n-point Gauss quadrature, you can integrate the polynomials of the order of 2n minus 1 exactly. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
So देखो, apply this formula for earlier cases. When Gauss quadrature, 1-point Gauss quadrature, 2 into 1 minus 1 is 1. So we can exactly integrate polynomials of degree 1. Happy?
Yes, sir.
When you substitute n equal to 2, it is 4 minus 1, that is 3. So you will be able to integrate polynomials of the order of 3 exactly using 2-point Gauss quadrature. Happy?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now imagine if you have a Gauss quadrature of order 4-point Gauss quadrature. So what is the degree of polynomial that you can integrate? 8
7.
minus 1, 7. Are you with me? So 7
Yes.
degree polynomial. It is very rare that you will require to have shape functions which are greater than 7 degree. So typically we will require either 1-point Gauss quadrature, 2-point Gauss quadrature, or 3-point Gauss quadrature to do integrations in the terms involved in minimization of potential energy. Are you with me?
Yes.
So 1, 2 or 3. Now आपने ये देखा होगा कि when we did a finite element formulation, the integration was not with reference to one variable. It was with reference to the volume. So it was in fact a triple integral. Do you understand that? Do you remember that?
Yes, sir.
जो हमने अभी FEM formulation पहले किए थे, उसमें integration was not only along one variable. Only for 1D elements, it was along one variable. If it is 2D element, the integration is about two variables, x and y. If it is 3D element, then we have to integrate over the volume. That means we have to perform a triple integration. Happy? Are you with me? Ganesh, are you there? I think he left out of. Devani, can you unmute? Devani, can you unmute? Achha, am I audible? So therefore, if I have to exactly integrate, so if I have to integrate a quantity with reference to two variables, how do I use this Gauss quadrature? Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
So अब तक हमने कैसे किया है? We have integrated with reference to only one variable. Now, what if it is a function of x and y? Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
So, how to integrate? That is our next question. How to integrate? How to integrate f of x, y, x comma y from x minus 1 to 1 and y minus 1 to 1. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
So integration minus 1 to 1, integration minus 1 to 1 of x comma y f of x comma y dx dy. How do we perform this task is the question. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
So we will start with something called as 1 cross 1 point Gauss quadrature. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
So when are we going to use 1 cross 1 1 cross 1 point Gauss quadrature? When f of xy is linear in x as well as linear in y. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
तो जरा यहाँ पे ध्यान दो, देखो, if I have f of xy, I will demonstrate f of xy is equal to x 3x minus 9y. So what is the power of x? Highest power of x? 1. What is the highest power of y? 1. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
If it was integration with reference to only x, which point Gauss quadrature would have I used? I would have used 1 point Gauss quadrature. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
Because x is linear, there is no need to go for higher point quadratures. If uh, this would have been a function in y, which Gauss quadrature would I have used? I would have still used 1 point Gauss quadrature. Why? Because the function is also linear in y. Happy?
Yes, sir.
So first thing you do when you look at this function is to decide the highest degree of x and y, and then in x which point Gauss quadrature you would have used, and in y which point Gauss quadrature you would have used. You are going to take that call. So in this particular case, in both cases, I would have used 1 point Gauss quadrature. If I were to integrate this function with reference to x, I would have used 1 point Gauss quadrature. If I would have to integrate this function with reference to y, still I would use 1 point Gauss quadrature. So I call it as 1 cross 1 point Gauss quadrature. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Now, for 1 point Gauss quadrature, let me write down the points. So what are the points? Tell me. We have derived this in 1 point Gauss quadrature. I think we did it second one. 1 point Gauss quadrature. What is the point? Point is 0 and weight is 2. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
So point in 1 point Gauss quadrature, point is 0 and I will add weight here. Weight. Weight is 1. Happy? Weight is 2. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
So now we have 2 points. कौन-कौन से point है? One point is x equal to 0 and second point is y equal to 0. Happy?
Yes, sir.
जो कि 1 point Gauss quadrature होता x में, तो we would have used this point x equal to 0. अगर ये 1 point Gauss quadrature होता in y, we would have used y equal to 0. Happy?
Yes, sir.
Then what is the weight corresponding to this one? Weight is 2 corresponding to x to 0 and weight is 2 corresponding to y equal to 0. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
अब जरा देखो इंटीग्रेशन -1 to 1 -1 to 1 f of x comma y dx dy here can now be written as, I will call this as wx, but if it would have been a polynomial, if it would have been integration in x, I will call it as wy if it would have been integration along y. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
So I can simply make the thing simpler by calling it w1 and w2. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
So can I write it as w1 into w2 into f of 0, 0. देखो x का एक ही पॉइंट था 0 वाला, y का एक ही पॉइंट था 0 वाला. So f of 0, 0 into w1 into w2. Are you with me? I claim
Yes, sir.
this is going to be the exact integration. Let us try it out. So what is w1? 2. What is w2? 2. And what is f of 0, 0? In this particular case, f of 0, 0 will be equal to 0. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
So this integration is going to be 0, is my claim. Let us try to find it out. So first of all, I will integrate this quantity with reference to y. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
So what is the integration with reference to y of this quantity? Can you tell me? It will be, now I am doing it exact. So what is the integration with reference to y? 3x minus 9y square by 2.
9y square by 2.
And here you are going to substitute limits only on y. Y equal to -1 to y equal to +1. Do you agree with me? This is integration of f of xy dy from y equal to -1 to 1. Happy?
Yes, sir.
So what is that integration? Tell me. So as y has the even power, this term is going to vanish and what remains is only 3x. I'm sorry, when you integrate it with reference to y, x is treated as constant. So it is going to be 3xy. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
So 3xy, this term will become now 6x. Happy?
Yes, sir.
And now you are going to integrate it with reference to x from -1 to 1. So x equal to -1 to x equal to 1, 6x dx. This is nothing but integration -1 to 1, integration -1 to 1, f of xy dx dy. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
F of xy dx dy. So what is this integration? Tell me. 6x square by 2. Happy?
Yes, sir.
And then you are substituting x is equal to -1 to x is equal to +1. This answer is going to be 0. Happy?
Yes, sir.
So therefore, this integration from -1 to f of x comma y, this integration turns out to be 0. Happy?
Yes, sir.
So exact and 1 cross 1 Gauss quadrature gives you the same result. Now, what I am going to do? Now, let us say f of xy, example number 2. Example number 2. F of xy x comma y is, chalo, x square y plus 9. हाँ, अब बोलो क्या करोगे? What is the degree of x? Tell me. 2. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
What is the degree of y? 1.
1.
So in x, you are going to use 2-point Gauss quadrature, and in y, you are going to use 1-point Gauss quadrature. Happy?
Yes, sir.
So you are going to use 2 cross 1 Gauss quadrature. The first one relates to x, second one relates to y. Happy?
Yes, sir.
Now, so what are the 2 points? When it is 2-point Gauss quadrature, we have already worked out the 2 points are 1 by root 3 and minus 1 by root 3. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
And weights are 1 and 1. Happy?
Yes, sir.
हाँ, तो अब जरा यहाँ पे ध्यान दो कौन कौन से पॉइंट्स हमारे पास है. We have x at 1 by root 3 and minus 1 by root 3. Happy?
Yes, sir.
और दोनों के वेट्स कितने हैं 1 and 1. Happy?
Yes, sir.
And you have y as 0 because in y it is 1 point quadrature. So point is 0. Y you have to consider y equal to 0 and weight is 2. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
तो अब इनके कितने कॉम्बिनेशन पॉसिबल है. सो वन कॉम्बिनेशन इज x इक्वल टू 1 by root 3 and y equal to 0. Another combination is x is equal to minus 1 by root 3 and y equal to 0. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
So I will write down those combinations first. So I am going to compute the value of function at x is equal to 1 by root 3 and y equal to 0. Then I am going to compute the function at f is equal to minus 1 by root 3. Happy? Comma
Yes, sir.
0. Now, when I choose f equal to 1 by root 3, what is the weight? 1. When I choose y equal to 0, what is the weight? 2. So when I choose x equal to 1 by root 3, weight is 1. When I choose x equal to 0, weight is 2. So therefore, along with this term, I am going to assign a weight of 1 into 2. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Now, when I choose x is equal to minus 1 by root 3, what is the weight? 1. When I choose x is equal y is equal to 0, what is the weight? 2. So therefore, with this term, I am going to assign the weight 1 cross 2. And I claim summation of this is going to be integration minus 1 to 1 f of xy dx dy. Exactly. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
So can we write down this value? It is equal to 2 times f of 1 by root 3 comma 0. So if I substitute 1 by root 3 comma 0 here, the first term is going to vanish. You are going to have only 9 here. Happy?
Yes, sir.
Plus, what is the value of f of minus 1 by root 3 comma 0? It is still going to be 9. Happy?
Yes, sir.
So 18 plus 18, how much?
36.
So this should be the answer. This is the answer given by Gauss quadrature. Now let us do it exactly. So what we need to do, integration minus 1 to 1, integration minus 1 to 1. इसका इंटीग्रेशन करना है x square y plus 9, right? X square y plus 9. Happy?
Yes, sir.
Dx dy. So let me integrate it with reference to y first. So when I integrate with reference to y, one integration will remain as it is. That is with reference to x. Happy?
Yes, sir.
And if I integrate the inside term with reference to y, I am going to get it as x square y square by 2 plus 9y. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
And this runs from, there is some disturbance, Ganesh, is it?
No, sir.
Okay, then this runs from minus 1 to plus 1. Happy?
Yes, sir.
So this is y equal to minus 1 to y equal to plus 1. So wherever there is a even power of y, that term is going to vanish. And what remains is only this term. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
And it becomes 18. Happy?
Yes, sir.
And its integration from minus 1 to 1 dx. Happy?
Yes, sir.
So what is that integration? 18x minus 1 to 1. So it is going to be 18 minus of 18. Happy? So it is
Yes, sir.
equal to 36. समझ में आ रहा है?
Sir.
Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
So this is 2 cross 1 Gauss quadrature. Now let us march ahead. 1 minute. Let me consider example number 3. Example number 3, where Acha Ganesh, there is some disturbance. You can mute. I will ask someone else to unmute. So Devayani, can you unmute? Supriya, can you unmute?
So,
Yeah, please keep yourself unmuted. Now let us consider next example. F of x comma y is equal to 9x square. Nine. Let us consider it as 9x square minus 9y cube plus 10x cube plus 8y square or 8y square. Are you with me? Supriya, you can mute. Now, f of xy is 9x square minus 9y cube plus 10x cube plus 8y square. If this is the polynomial, what is the highest order of x? Can you tell me? Highest degree of x?
3.
Yes. So highest degree of x is 3. And what is the highest degree of y?
Sir, 2.
How? We also have a term in minus 9y cube, right?
Yes, sir. 3, sir.
3. So both x and y are cubic in nature. So let us go back to basics. So if you look at this, if I were to integrate cubic polynomials, which point Gauss quadrature should I consider? Yes, Sumit. Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes.
So which point Gauss quadrature should we consider? You have to integrate cubic polynomials. Yeah.
2.
Yes. So in both
Second
cases,
Gauss quadrature.
x and y, I should consider second order, means a 2-point Gauss quadrature. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
And what are the points? 1 by root 3 and minus 1 by root 3. And what are the weights? Weights are 1 comma 1. Happy? Are you with me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes. So let us do that. So what are the points that I have? I have points x 1 by root 3. Happy? And y, another point is minus 1 by root 3. And y also I have 1 by root 3 and minus 1 by root 3. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
But now let us do all the combinations of these 4 points. So I can have x is equal to 1 by root 3, y equal to 1 by root 3. I can have x equal to minus 1 by root 3, y equal to minus 1 by root 3. Then I can have x is equal to 1 by root 3 and y is equal to minus 1 by root 3. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
Then you can have x is equal to minus 1 by root 3 and y is equal to plus 1 by root 3. And the fourth combination is both minus 1 by root 3 minus 1 by root 3. Happy?
Yes, sir.
Now, what will be the weight accompanied with this? So when x is equal to 1 by root 3, weight is 1. When y is equal to 1 by root 3, weight is 1. So the resultant weight is 1 into 1. Happy?
Yes, sir.
Similarly, when x is equal to 1 by root 3 and x is equal to minus 1 by root 3, weight is 1 cross 1. 1 cross 1. Everywhere it is going to be the product of 1 into 1, because with each point, the weight associated, if it is a integration with reference to single variable, the weight associated is 1. Happy?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So how do I write this integration? How do I write integration f of x comma y from minus 1 to 1? How do I write that? So to write this, what I'm going to do is this. It is going to be first one, f of 1 by root 3, 1 by root 3 multiplied by this weight, that is 1, plus this weight multiplied by f of 1 by root 3 minus 1 by root 3. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Plus 1 multiplied by f of minus 1 by root
Minus.
3 comma 1 by root 3, and plus last 1 multiplied by weight multiplied by f of minus 1 by root 3. Are you with me? Minus 1 by root
Yes,
3.
sir.
So let us calculate these four values. What is f of 1 by root 3 comma 1 by root 3? तो ये वैल्यू क्या होगा वो पहले कैलकुलेट करते हैं. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
So what is the function 9x square? So it is going to be 9 into 1 upon root 3 square. This is x square. Then next is minus 9y cube. So minus 9 into 1 by root 3 cube. This is y here. Are you with me? Plus
Yes, sir.
10x cube. 10 into 1 by root 3 cube. This is x here. And last term is plus 8y square. Plus 8 into 1 by root 3 square. This is y. So can you compute this and let me know the value?
Yes.
Meanwhile, I will write down the expression for next term. Compute this value and tell me. Ganesh, you are also going to compute. We will have a cross verification.
Yes, sir.
1 by root 3 and minus 1 by root 3. 1 by root 3 and minus 1 by root 3. So wherever there is one y, I am going to substitute it as minus 1 by root 3. So first term is 1 by root 3 square minus 9 minus 1 by root 3 cube plus 10 into 1 by root 3 cube plus 8 into minus 1 by root 3 square. This is the second one. This also you are going to tell me. Just give me a second. Okay, then third term is going to be f of 1 by root minus 1 by root 3 and plus 1 by root. So f of minus 1 by root 3 and plus 1 by root 3. So how do I write that? So wherever there is x, I am going to substitute the value as 1 by root 3, minus 1 by root 3. So 9 into minus 1 by root 3 square minus 9 into 1 by root 3 cube. Actually, on your calculator, if you write the function in terms of two variables, it is very easy to calculate. You can just go on changing the values of a and b as plus minus 1 by root 3 and you shall get the answer. So you must master that skill on your calculator. But here, can you give me these values, Ganesh and
So the first value 5.8592,
5.8592?
8592,
What is the second value?
9.3232.
9.3232. Now I will not write the expression in longhand. I want you to compute the value of f of minus 1 by root 3 and plus 1 by root 3. So in this expression, you are going to put x is equal to minus 1 by root 3 and y is equal to plus 1 by root 3 and tell me the value. क्या substitute करना है? Here you are going to substitute x is equal to minus 1 by root 3 and y is equal to plus 1 by root 3. Substitute this and tell me the value. Okay, Ganesh?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, please tell. Yeah, so we calculated the values of this function at all the four locations where we wanted it. And now what is integration f of x y dx dy from minus 1 to 1, double integration. This is nothing but 1 into the first value, that is 5.8592 plus 1 into 9.3232 plus 1 into 2.0101 plus 1 into 5.4742. So can you do this addition, Ganesh, and let me know what is the value? Yeah, go ahead. Pardon? Point?
22.667.
Just a minute. 22.667.
667.
Now I encourage you to do this double integration exactly, and you will be able to prove that this value is exactly equal to 22.67. So what have we achieved here? So instead of doing this double integration in a traditional way, which is going to be complex, a computer or program understands addition operation more, performs the additional operation in less time than the integration operation. So we are going to convert the problem of integration into addition and multiplication. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
So therefore, this was all about using Gauss quadratures to integrate a quantity or a function from minus 1 to 1. May it be a single integral, double integral, or triple integral. We can extend the same logic. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So once we have done that, now the next part in line should be the discussion on solution of a problem using isoparametric element formulation. Are you with me? So let us put all the pieces together. हमने कैसे किया था? Isoparametric element formulation में we converted all the terms in terms of a transform coordinate system where all the integrations were from minus 1 to plus 1. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
But now, and then we are going to use the Gauss quadrature to do the integration, and then we can formulate the equation for minimization of potential energy, and thus we can solve the problem. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So ideally, I should solve a full-fledged problem based on this now, but that will make the entire lecture series boring and monotonous. So we are going to shift to another topic, and we will come back to that after this topic. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
So let us go to now, let us shift to a new topic where I'm going to teach you assembly of element stiffness and force matrices. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Assembly of element stiffness and force matrices. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Matrices. And in the same method, I am going to teach you a method to write stiffness matrix directly. So direct method. For writing down element stiffness matrix. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
By the way, what is element stiffness matrix in the formulation that we have learned till now? It is triple integration B transpose dB dx dy dz. Do you remember that? Ganesh?
Yes, sir.
So Joe, if you go back and look at our lectures, I had said that K matrix is nothing but the triple integration B transpose D B, where B transpose CB, I'm sorry, where C is the constitutive matrix, dx dy dz. So direct इस method से भी stiffness matrix generate किया जा सकता है. But here we are going to learn a new method. In fact, we are going to revise this method. This you have already learned in your structural analysis 1 and 2 courses. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
But here we are not going to stop by developing a stiffness matrix at element level, but we are also going to learn it to assemble it into a global stiffness matrix. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
So let us do this stiffness matrix. And I'm going to demonstrate this entire procedure using an example. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
So let us start with this. This is the problem that you need to analyze. Let us take some numbers. So I'm going to take P as 10 kilonewton. Happy?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Then I'm going to consider this as EI1, this as EI2. That means column and beams have different flexural rigidities. That's what I'm going to consider. And this is EI1. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
What is E? E is modulus of elasticity of a material. What is I? I is moment of inertia about the axis of bending. Are you
Yes,
with
sir.
me? So EI1 is the flexural rigidity of columns. EI2 is the flexural rigidity of beam. Beam and columns need not have same cross sections, so their EI is ought to be different. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And such kind of frame is subjected, it is a single base, single story frame subjected to 10 kilonewton lateral loading. You must have solved such kind of problems during your structural analysis using stiffness matrix method. Have you solved this?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I'm going to name this frame as A, B, C, and D. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now I'm going to name global degrees of freedom. So global degrees of freedom are assigned to the entire structure. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
So this is the entire structure at the glance. At A, you can, which are the global degrees of freedom that I'm going to consider? I'm going to consider only 2 global degrees of freedom per node. What are these degrees of freedom? One is deformation perpendicular to the member length, and second one, rotation about z-axis. So let us call this as x-axis. Let us call this as y-axis. Coming out of the plane of wood towards you is z. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
I'm going to consider only 2 degrees of freedom. Why? We will answer that question little late. But I'm going to consider only 2 degrees of freedom per node. One perpendicular to the length of the element, and one about rotation about z-axis. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
So this is the first degree of freedom. I'm going to call it as U1. All the global degrees of freedom will be marked using capital letters. So U1. And what is the another degree of freedom? Another degree of freedom, I will assume that these are anti-clockwise rotations. So initially I'm going to assume everything in positive direction. U1 towards right, positive x, and U2 is the rotational degree of freedom at A. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
चलो, at A which member is meeting? Tell me, कौन सा member meet हो रहा है?
Sorry, sir.
At A, how many members are meeting in this structure? At supporting
One member.
only one member, right?
Yes, sir.
So now let me also consider this degree of freedom, U2. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
So U1 and U2 are X and Y directional translations at point A. Happy?
Yes, sir.
What is the information that you have about U1 and U2? U1 is 0, U2 is 0 because it is fixed support. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
And U3 is the rotation about Z axis at point A. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
And you have the information U1 equal to 0, U2 equal to 0, and U3 equal to 0. Happy?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now let us go to point number B. So at B, what are the degrees of freedom? Those degrees of freedom I'm going to mark here. I'm going to call those as U4. Happy? Then U5, and rotational degree of freedom here. Anti-clockwise, I'm going to denote it by U6. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Then at C, U7, U8. So U7 and U8 are translational degrees of freedom. U7 and U8 are X directional and Y directional translations at point number C respectively. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
And anti-clockwise rotation here, I'm going to call it as U9. Happy?
Yes, sir.
Do you have any information on U4, U5, U6, U7, U8, U9? No, we don't know. These are the unknowns. Unlike
Yes, sir.
support A, where U1, U2, U3 were known to be 0, these are unknowns. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now what are the degrees of freedom at D? I'm going to call them as U10, U11. Okay, we will take a break of 5 minutes as there is a prayer. So let us resume. So I have marked U10, U11 and U12 equal to 0. Do you agree with me, Ganesh?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, this is because support D is a fixed support, and U10, U11, and U12 are translational and rotational degrees of freedom at that support. Those are ought to be 0. Happy?
Yes, sir.
Now, in finite element formulation, first thing that you have to understand that the computer doesn't understand letters. So first of all, we are going to number A, B, C, D as node numbers 1, 2, 3, and 4. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
So therefore, node number 1, 2, 3, and 4 are the 4 nodes. And what are the global degrees of freedom at each of these nodes? So at node number 1, you have U1, U2, U3. U1 and U2 are translations. U3 is rotation. Happy?
Yes, sir.
So at node number 2, U4, U5, U6. Node number 3, U7, U8, U9. And node number 4, you have U10, U11, and U12. Happy?
Yes, sir.
These are the global degrees of freedom assigned to various nodes in the global structure. Now, let us also list down reactions at each of these nodes. Happy?
Yes, sir.
So at node number 1, how many reactions are possible? You can have a horizontal reaction, vertical reaction, and moment reaction. Happy?
Yes, sir.
Horizontal reaction will connect with U1, vertical reaction V1 will connect with U2, and moment reaction will connect with U3. Do you agree with me? Because U1 and U2 are translational degrees of freedom. They correlate with H1 and V1, which are force reactions. Whereas U3 is rotational degree of freedom, which correlates with moment reaction. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so reactions there are H1, V1, and M1. Similarly, at node number 4, corresponding to U10, U11, and U12, you have reactions H4, V4, and M4. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Are there reactions at any other nodes? No, other nodes are not support nodes, so there is no question of reactions. Happy?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now let us look at what are the unknowns in our hand. So I'm going to ask about a quantity. You are going to tell me whether it is known or unknown. So tell me, what can you say about U1, U2, U3?
Known quantities.
Known quantity. These are zeros. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
What can you say about H1, V1, and M1?
Known quantity.
No, how? This is statically indeterminate structure. How will you know the reactions unless you solve for it? Are you with me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So reactions are unknown quantities always. So therefore these reactions are unknowns. Happy?
Yes, sir.
Now what can you say about U4, U5, U6? Unknown quantities.
Unknown quantity.
What can
Yes.
you say about U7, U8, U9? Unknown
Unknown
quantities.
quantity.
There are no reactions there. What can you say about U10, U11, and U12? These are known quantities.
Yes.
And the reactions there are unknown. So the point I'm trying to make is wherever you know the displacements or rotations, there you don't have a choice of a force. Reactions will always be unknowns there. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
In order to force U1, U2, U3 to 0, you will have to come up with reactions H1, V1, and M1. So they will remain unknown there. Similarly,
Yes, sir.
U10, U11, and U12 are known. So therefore, reactions there must be unknown.
Yes, sir.
If U4, U5, U6 are unknowns, reactions there are out of question, or forces there are out of question. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
So at a node, you can either have a global degree of freedom as unknown, then the forces there are known. But if you have global degree of freedom known at a point, the corresponding reaction will be unknown. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
So at a point, reaction and corresponding displacement में एक ही चीज unknown रह सकती है, दूसरी चीज पता होती है. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So having said that, let us now write down the various unknowns. So what are the unknowns in our hand? We need to solve for U4, U5, U6, U7, U8, U9. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
And then these are the displacement unknowns. And what are the force unknowns? Force unknowns are H1, V1, M1. H4, P4, M4. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
These are force unknowns. Chalo, tell me, how many total unknowns are there?
6, sir.
9 plus 6. 15 unknowns are there. You need to cast
15 unknowns, unknowns.
You need to cast 15
Yes, sir.
equations for sure. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, I'm going to ask you another question. Why did you consider degrees of freedom only at node numbers 1, 2, 3, and 4 as unknowns? Why not at every point intermediate to 1 and 2? So, therefore, we are in finite element method where we discretize the continuum. So, in fact, this frame is a continuous frame ABCD. वैसे देखा जाए तो at each and every point the displacements are unknown. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
So वैसे देखा जाए तो हमारे पास कितने unknowns है? At every point you have at least, as this is a 2D case, you have 3 displacements as unknowns at every point. At every point you can have x directional translation, y directional translation, and rotation. So 3 times infinity is the number of unknowns that we have. So total infinite number of unknowns are with us. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
But in finite element formulation we discretize the continuum. So हम क्या करेंगे, जो continuum है उसको discretize करेंगे. कैसे discretize करेंगे? By identifying the elements. So here I have identified 3 elements. कौन-कौन से है? 1 to 2 is one element, 2 to 3 is another element, 3 to 4 is another element. So elements and nodes have been identified to discretize the continuum into only 3 elements. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
So therefore I am going to call E1 as the element which has starting node 1 and end node 2. Nodal connectivity is from 1 to 2. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
E2 is the another element which has nodal connectivity from 2 to 3. Node number 2 to node number 3. So node number 2 is common for element number 1 and element number 2. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
And element number 3 has nodal connectivity from 3 to 4. So node number 3 is common for element number 2 and element number 3. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Here the idea is this: element number 1 connects, or element number 1 talks with element number 2 only through a common node 2. Element number 2 and element number 3, they talk with each other, they transfer the forces, moments, everything only through common node 3. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
So this step is called as discretization. So I have discretized the continuum. So first of all, I cease to acknowledge that there are infinite points on the body. Instead of that, I will acknowledge only nodes. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
This process is called as discretization. Once I discretize, I have finite number of nodes in my hand. Happy?
Yes, sir.
I will consider displacement only at nodes as unknowns. देखो philosophy कैसे है. I'm going to consider displacement only at nodes as unknowns. So therefore, so initially we had infinite displacements as unknowns. Now we have finite displacements as unknowns. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Which are those finite displacements? U1 to U12. Happy?
Yes, sir.
So I consider U1 to U12 as unknowns. Of course, U1, U2, U3, U10, U11, U12 are known because of boundary conditions. That is a different story. But to start with, in discretization, I will consider only U1 to U12 as unknowns. So, जो infinite unknowns थे, those have been converted into finite number, 12. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
Then what about the displacement in between the element? अगर मैं ये point ले लेता हूँ, तो इस point के x, y, z directional displacement क्या है? I am going to use shift functions. And I'm going to write
Yes,
that interpolation functions, and I'm going to write the displacement there as the function of nodal displacement. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So therefore, the name finite element method. In finite element method, we convert infinite number of unknowns into finite number of unknowns, and we follow interpolation for any point in between. This is done through a process called as discretization, where we define elements and their nodal connectivity. With me?
Yes, sir.
So this is the second step in finite element formulation, that is discretization. Chalo. Now let me consider element 1. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Now I am going to consider element number 1. What is its nodal connectivity? Element number 1 is from node number 1 to node number 2. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Node number 1 to node number 2. Now comes the interesting part. As this element is principally subjected to bending, and I'm going to neglect its axial stiffness, therefore at each node I'm going to consider only 2 degrees of freedom. One perpendicular to the element, translational degree of freedom, and another rotational degree of freedom. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
So chalo. So what is the translational degree of freedom here? U1. And as it is elemental degree of freedom, I am going to denote it by small letter u. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Then for the second node of the element, this is the degree and rotational degree of freedom. So rotational degree of freedom, I am going to denote it by notation u2. Happy? This is u3 and this is u4. Happy?
Yes, sir.
These are
So, but
the
at
nodal.
node, okay. So
Yes.
we consider it as, I think we consider node 1 at U1 and U3 as a
No, those were global
rotation.
degrees of freedom. That's what I'm saying. So
Okay.
global degrees of freedom are capital U1, U2, U3. But now I'm talking about the elemental degrees of freedom. That's what I'm saying. So what are the elemental degrees of freedom?
Yes, sir.
Elemental degrees of freedom. Tell me. Elemental degrees of freedom are U1, U2, U3,
Yes, sir.
and U4. What is U1? It is translational degree of freedom perpendicular to the element E1 at node number 1. What is U2? It is rotational degree of freedom for element number E1 at node number 1. What is U3? It is a translational degree of freedom perpendicular to element E1 at node number 2. What is U4? It is rotational degree of freedom at element number 1 at node number 2. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
So I will also mention node numbers here. What are the node numbers? So U1 and U2 are degrees of freedom at node number 1. U3 and U4 are degrees of freedom at node number 2. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
Now, how do these elemental degrees of freedom map to global degrees of freedom? Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Global degree of freedom. So I am now going to map correlation between the elemental degree of freedom and global degree of freedom. Happy?
Yes, sir.
Let us do that exercise first. So U1 is towards right here, maps to capital U1 as it is. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
So it maps to U1. What is U2? U2 is the rotational degree of freedom, maps to U3. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
U3 is the translational degree of freedom. Small u3 is the translational degree of freedom that maps to U4. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
And small u4 is what? Small u4 is
U6.
U6. Happy?
Yes, sir.
So this is the mapping. U1, U3, U4 and U6. These are the global degrees of freedom to which small u1, small u2, small u3 and small u4 for element number 1 are mapped. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
And as these are for element number 1, I am going to write the superscript E1. E1. Do you agree with me? E2, sorry, E1. E1. Happy?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now let us do this exercise for element number 2. Element 2. So element number 2 runs from 2 to 3. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
Now I am going to mark, so 2 is the starting node, 3 is the end node. So I am going to have elemental degrees of freedom, which I am going to mark it as transverse to the element, that I am going to mark it as U1. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Transverse to the element, I am going to mark it. Then rotational degree of freedom, I am going to mark it as U2, then U3 and U4. Are you with me? These are local
Yes, sir.
degrees of freedom or elemental degrees of freedom for for element number 2. Happy?
Yes.
So similar table is going to prevail here. So node number 2, 2. 2 is the starting node. 3 is the end node. Starting nodes will have 2 degrees of freedom, U1 and U2. End nodes will have 2 degrees of freedom, U3 and U4. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
Chalo. So this elemental, these are also called as local degrees of freedom. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Elemental degree. Why are we doing this? It will be clear in a while. What is the advantage of doing this? It will be clear in a while. Just believe me for now that it is important. So elemental degree of freedom. What are the elemental degrees of freedom? U1, U2 and U3, U4. These are for element number 2. So I am going to write down the superscript E2. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Can you tell me U1 maps to which degree of freedom in global structure?
U5.
Yes, it maps to U5. Even the direction is same. So I'm going to say simply it maps to which global degree? Global degree of freedom. Which global degree? Tell me.
U5.
U5. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And then what else?
U6.
Yeah. So this second degree of freedom maps to which degree? U6. Right? Dekho. Where is U6? Rotational degree of freedom. So that's correct. It maps to U6. What about this? U3
U8.
maps to U8 and U4 maps to
U9.
U9. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Chalo. So U1, U3, U4, U6, U5, U6, U8 and U9. This is the mapping. Happy?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now let us go to element number 3. What is element number 3? Tell me. 3 to 4. Connectivity is from 3 to 4. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
The moment I say the connectivity is from 3 to 4, this becomes U1 and this becomes U2, this becomes U3 and this becomes U2 anti-clockwise. This is U3 and this is anti-clockwise U4. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
So I'm going to have the similar table here. node elemental degree of freedom and global degree of freedom. So what are the nodes here? 3 and 4. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Node 3 and node 4. What are the degrees of freedom? This is for element number 3. So I will simply write down this as element number 3. Happy? Chalo.
Yes.
U1 maps to which degree of freedom?
U7.
U7. So can I write this as U7? 1 minute. U7. Happy? U2 maps to which global degree of freedom?
U9.
U2 maps to U9. Happy? Okay. Then U3 maps to which global degree of freedom?
U10.
U10. And
And U12.
U12. So you have to also look at, अरे कहाँ पे change किया? This should have been here. This should have been here, and this is this was U9, right?
Right.
So yes, this is done. Global degree. So we have done elemental degree of freedom mapping to global degree of freedom. Happy?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now we are going to develop something called as element stiffness matrix. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Element stiffness matrix. तो देखो जो कि हमने सारे एलिमेंट्स के स्टार्टिंग के नोड को U1 एंड U2 डिग्रीज ऑफ फ्रीडम दिए हैं और एंड के नोड को U3 एंड U4 ऐसे डिग्रीज ऑफ फ्रीडम दिए हैं. सो देयरफॉर आई कैन कंसीडर एलिमेंट arbitrarily oriented. Are you with me? Any
Yes,
element.
sir.
This is its first node, or we can say this is its ith node. Are you with me? And this is its jth node. So what is the nodal connectivity? This element is from I to J. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
And when it is oriented from I to J, just a minute. When it is oriented from I to J, this we have called it as U1. This we have called it as U3. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
It's anti-clockwise. This has been called as U2,
U3, U2.
U2, and this is also anti-clockwise. We have called this as U4.
U4.
Happy?
Yes.
Question: can you generate element stiffness matrix for this element? Sub degrees of freedom हमें पता है. So how do we do that using stiffness matrix method? What is degree of kinematic indeterminacy here? 4. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
U1, U2, U3, and U4. Happy?
Yes, sir.
Now, to generate stiffness matrix, what is the next thing that we do? Next thing that we do is restrain the structure. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
So restrain the structure. So this is your structural analysis 1 and 2. So in restrained structure, we restrain both all the degrees of freedom which are listed here. So to restrain this, I will have to make ith and jth node fixed. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
So I have made ith node fixed and jth node fixed. Doing so, I have restrained u1, u2, u3, u4. I will not allow u1, u2, u3, u4 to occur. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
This is ith node, this is jth node. What do we do next? The next is we go on giving unit displacements one by one. So we will have u1 equal to 1. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
So to have u1 equal to 1, how does the deformed shape look like then? Chalo. So let me show that. When u1 is equal to 1, you have displaced this by unity. 1 is equal to 1. 1. Okay. So u1 is equal to 1. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
So if u1 is equal to 1, how does the deformed shape look like? Will it look something like this? Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
This is fixed one. Now to move this support up, you will have to provide a force in this direction. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
Consequence, the reaction that gets generated here will be in this direction. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
These two forces, which are equal and opposite in nature but separated by the length of the member, they produce moment in which direction? Couple moment in which direction? Clockwise or anti-clockwise? Tell me.
Clockwise.
Clockwise. So therefore, consequently, the reactionary moments here must be anti-clockwise. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Chalo. So what is this reactionary moment? We know that it is 6 EI delta upon L square. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
6 EI delta, but delta is 1. So it is 6 EI into 1 upon L is the length of the member, L square. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
So this moment is also 6 EI upon L square. Happy?
Yes, sir.
So what are these reactions? तो ये reactions हम कैसे calculate करते हैं? We add these two moments. तो कितना होता है? 12 EI upon L square. Do you agree? और उसको एक
Yes,
बार
sir.
L से और divide करते हैं. So these reactions will be 12 EI upon L cube. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
ये आपका हुआ है structural analysis में. I am not going to explain this anymore. सिर्फ इतना ही ध्यान में रखो जो प्रोसेस हमने किया. क्या प्रोसेस किया? So if you are giving unit displacement in this direction, I will have to provide a force in this direction. Consequence reaction is in this direction. This couple produces a clockwise moment. So therefore, these two moments have to be anti-clockwise in nature. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
And then these moments, we know that they are 6 EI delta upon L square. Delta is 1. So 6 EI upon L square, 6 EI upon L square. Add these moments divided by L, you will get the reactions. Happy?
Yes, sir.
Now, can you tell me what do we mean by K11? Of course, this is all going for this element. So it is element stiffness matrix. तो इसलिए superscript E लिखता हूँ. What is K11? First element of element stiffness matrix. So it is action required to be produced at 1 to have unit deformation at 1. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
What is the understanding of element number understanding of K11? It is a stiffness coefficient. It is action required to be produced at 1 to have unit deformation at 1. So what is 1? 1 is nothing but U1. So to have unit deformation U1, U1 is a translation. So corresponding action is a force. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
जहां पे U1 हो रहा है वहां पे दो एक्शंस है. कौन कौन से एक्शंस है? 12 EI upon L cube and 6 EI delta upon L square. but this is moment and this is force. As u1 is a translation, it must be caused by a force. So k11 is the action that required to be produced at 1 to have u1 equal to 1. So that is nothing but this force, which I write it as 12 ei upon l cube. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
So k11 for this element is 12 ei upon l cube. Can you tell me what do we mean by k21? Action that gets produced at 2 due to unit deformation at 1. So where is 2? Tell me. 2 is nothing but u2. u2 is the rotation. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
So rotation के corresponding action कौन सा है? Force या moment?
Moment.
Moment. So what I am asking is moment that get produced at 2. 1 and 2 are at the same locations, but I am now looking at the moment. Moment that gets produced at 2 due to unit deformation at 1. So u1 equal to 1 के वजह से यहाँ पे जो moment generate हुआ है, that is this k21. And as it is anti-clockwise, I will write it as 6 ei upon l square. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Can you tell me what is k31? K31 is action that gets produced at 3 due to unit deformation at 1. So u1 equal to 1 देने के वजह से 3 के यहाँ पे जो action produce होता है. Now 3 and 4 are at the same location, but 3 is translation. So I am going to look at the action which is force. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
So that is minus 12 ei upon l cube. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
Minus 12 ei upon l. Happy?
Yes, sir.
Can you tell me what is k41? K41 is
Minus
action
6
that
dB.
gets produced at 4 due to unit deformation at 1. So u1 equal to 1 होने के वजह से 4 की जगह. But what is 4? 4 is rotation. So here whatever is the moment that gets generated, that is what I am looking for. That is 6 ei upon l square. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
So k11, k12, this all is over. So I am going bit. This all you have already done in structural analysis 1 and 2. So I am going little fast. So k11.
So that
So what is in general
moment,
pardon?
so that moment should be plus minus sign. So
But both are anti-clockwise. This is also anti-clockwise, no?
yes, sir.
Therefore plus sign. Force में वैसे नहीं है. Here the force was in positive y direction, but here the force was in negative y direction. But moments are both anti-clockwise. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So let me define Kij. What is Kij? So Kij is action that gets produced at I. ये action force रहेगा क्या या moment रहेगा? That depends upon I. If I is a translation, it is force. If I is the rotation, it is moment. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
So action that gets produced at I due to unit deformation at J. This is the description of Kij. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So we have written down this K11, K21, K31 and K41. Now what are we going to write down? Now we are going to go ahead with the second diagram where I give U2 equal to 1. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
So when I give U2 equal to 1, तो कैसे दिखेगा? U2 कहाँ पे हो रहा है? 1 के जगह पे ही हो रहा है. But U2 is the rotation. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
U2 is rotation. किस तरह का rotation है? Anti-clockwise. So therefore, I give a anti-clockwise rotation by amount 1 here. So this is the tangent drawn to the deformed shape such that this angle is 1 radian. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
So how does the deformed shape look like? It is going to look something like this. Happy?
Yes, sir.
Now to produce this anticlockwise rotation here, you will have to apply anticlockwise moment. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
You know that this moment is carried over here. Carry over factor
Yes.
किया है हमने. So if this moment
Yes,
is
sir.
m, this carryover will be m by 2. Do you agree with me?
M/2. Yes, sir.
So have unit rotation at this end when the far end is fixed. What is the moment that you require to produce? 4 EI by L. Do you agree with me?
Right.
When
Yes,
far
sir.
end is fixed, you need to provide the moment 4 EI by L. As a carryover consequence, this moment here will be anticlockwise in nature, but of the half magnitude. So 2 EI by L. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
These
Yes, sir.
moments are anti-clockwise, so reactions must produce clockwise moments. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
तो रिएक्शन ने क्लॉकवाइज मूवमेंट अगर प्रोड्यूस करना है तो देयर इज नो अदर गो देन रिएक्शंस बीइंग ऑफ दिस नेचर. डू यू एग्री विथ मी?
Yes, sir.
And then what is the magnitude of these reactions? So I said 4 EI by L plus 2 EI by L, addition करना है 6 EI by L and divide it once by L, so it is going to be 6 EI upon L square. Agreed?
Yes, sir.
देखो प्रोसेस बहुत इजी है. वंस वी कंप्लीट द स्टिफनेस कोएफिशिएंट फॉर ऑल द डिग्रीज ऑफ फ्रीडम यू विल गेट हैंग ऑफ इट. पहले जैसे जैसे कर रहा हूँ वो देखो. So to have unit rotation, you need to provide moment equal to 4 EI by L, consequence 2 EI by L, add the moments because they are in same direction, and then divide by L. Those are the reactions. If moments are anti-clockwise, reactions must produce clockwise. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now I'm going to write down stiffness coefficient. The first thing that I write is K12. What is K12? It is action that gets produced at 1 due to unit deformation at 2. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
What is 2 U2? So U2 1 देने के वजह से 1 के यहाँ पे. But what is 1? 1 is translation. So what should I be looking for? Force. Do you agree with me?
Yes.
So यहाँ unit rotation देने के वजह से force reaction कितना आया? So that is 6 CI upon L square. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
अगर ये हमने कंप्यूट नहीं किया रहता तो भी चलता. Why? Because you will see that K21 has to be equal to K12. Are you with me? Stiffness matrix is symmetric. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
चलो अब आगे चलते हैं. What is K22? Action that needs to be produced at 2 to have unit deformation at 2. What is 2? 2 is rotation. So
Right.
यहाँ पे unit rotation होने के लिए corresponding action क्या है? At 2 है ना? So what is the corresponding action? Moment or force?
Moment.
So therefore this is 4 EI by L. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
Now tell me what is K32? Action that gets produced at 3. What is 3? 3 is translation. What should I be looking for? I should be looking for force,
Force.
and that is minus 6 EI upon L square. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
What is K42? Action that gets produced at 4 due to unit deformation at 2. What is 4? 4 is U4, that is rotation. What action should I be looking for? Rotation. A moment. So moment is 2 EI by L. So it is anti-clockwise, so positive. Happy?
Yes, sir.
So these are the stiffness coefficients. Now, marching ahead. Now I am going to give U3 equal to 1. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
So this is ith element, this is jth element. What is U3? U3 is the force like this. U3 is the translation. So U3 equal to 1 means this support moves here and this translation is 1. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
U3 equal to 1 unit. How does the deformed shape look like? deformed shape looks something like this. To have this translation at 3, I will have to produce a force like this. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
Consequence, there will be a force like this. What kind of moment does this couple produce? It produces anti-clockwise moment. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
So therefore, I'm going to have a clockwise moment here. And how much is that moment? It is 6 EI into delta,
L square.
which is 1 upon L square. So these are clockwise moments of magnitude 6 EI upon L square. So their sum is 12 EI upon L square. उसको एक बार और L से divide करो. So these reactions are going to be 12 EI upon L cube. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
चलो अब quickly. I am going to write down now K13. लिखने की जरूरत नहीं है क्योंकि it is going to be equal to K31 which we have evaluated. पर एक बार लिख के देखते हैं. Are you with me? It should be minus 12 EI upon L cube. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
But what is K13 by definition? It is action that gets produced at 1 due to unit deformation at 3. What is 1? 1 is translation. So which action I should be looking for?
Force.
Force. So I should be looking for force at 1 due to unit deformation at 3. So what is that force? 12 EI upon L cube. But it is in negative y direction. So can I call it as minus 12 EI upon L cube? Do you
Yes,
agree
sir.
with me? That's what it was supposed to be. K31. Agreed?
Yes, sir.
हाँ ना. K23 ये भी निकालने की जरूरत नहीं है because we have already calculated K32. K32 is minus 6 EI upon L square. So this should be K23 should also be minus 6 EI upon L square. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
But let us work it out from first principles. What is K23? It is action that gets produced at 2. What is 2? 2 is rotation. What is the action? Moment. So I am looking at the moment produced at this end. Are you with me? And what is that moment?
Yes, sir.
That moment is clockwise 6 EI upon L square. Clockwise moment negative. So minus 6 EI upon L square. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Now let us look at K33. What is K33? Action that requires to be produced at 3 to have unit deformation at 3. What is 3? 3 is translation.
Force.
Translation के corresponding action कौन सा है? Force. Force that is required to be produced at 3 to have unit deformation at
12
3
EI by L cube.
upon L. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
This way of writing the stiffness matrix is called as direct stiffness matrix. ये हमने फॉर्मूला ऑलरेडी डिराइव किया है, उसके बेसिस पे हम डायरेक्टली लिख रहे हैं. Are you with me? We are not solving any integration here. Happy?
Yes.
Now what is K43? Action that gets produced at 4 due to unit deformation at 3. What is 4? 4 is rotation. Which action should I be looking for? Moment.
Moment.
Moment that gets produced at the location of 4, that is here, that is minus 6 EI upon L square. Why minus? Because it is clockwise. Happy?
Yes, sir.
Great. Now the last figure. What is the last figure? In which we give U4 equal to 1. What is U4? U4 is the rotation. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
So I need to give a anti-clockwise rotation here. So if I were to give the anti-clockwise rotation, tangent would look something like this. The deformed shape is going to look something like this. So that I have given the anti-clockwise rotation. To have this anti-clockwise rotation, I will have to produce anti-clockwise moment like this. Consequence, carried over moment, half of the magnitude here. These moments are anti-clockwise in nature. Reactions must produce clockwise moment. To produce clockwise moment, reactions must be in this fashion. Happy?
Yes, sir.
Far end is fixed. What should be this moment? 4 EI by L. Happy?
Yes, sir.
What should be this carried over moment 2EI by L?
2EI by L.
Happy? Summation is 6EI by L. Divide it once more by L, so it will be 6EI upon L square. Right? Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Now we are going to calculate K14, which is not required to be calculated. It will be equal to K41. K41 is 6EI upon L square, but let us work it out from first principle. So what is K14? Action that gets produced at 1 due to unit deformation at force. What is 1? 1 is translation. What action should I be looking for? Force. So what is the force that is produced here? 6EI upon L square. Happy?
Yes, sir.
What is K24? Bolo. Action that gets produced at 2 due to unit deformation at force. 4. What is 2? 2 is rotation. Which action should I be looking for? Bolo.
Your force.
No, 2 is rotation. Which action should I be
It's rotation. Moment.
moment?
2EI by L.
What is that moment? 2EI by L. Let us cross verify whether this 2EI by L is same as K42. K42 is 2EI by L. Happy?
Yes.
So stiffness matrix is inherently symmetric due to Maxwell's reciprocal theorem. You must have learned that.
Yes,
Now,
sir.
K34. K34 is equal to action that gets produced at 3. What is 3? 3 is translation. So which action I'm looking for? Force. Where? At the location of 3. Where is 3? 3 is at this end. Do you agree with me? So what is the force?
Yes.
Minus 6EI upon L.
6EI by L square.
Minus. Let us check whether
Yes, sir.
K43 is minus 6EI upon L square. So where is K43? K43 is minus 6EI by L square. Happy? Which is
Yes,
equal
sir.
to K34. What is K44? Action that requires to be produced at 4 to have unit deformation at 4. What is 4? 4 is rotation. So what is the corresponding action? Bolo?
Moment.
Moment. So I should be looking for moment at 4. So what is that moment? Tell me.
4EI by L.
So I'm going to write down K44 as 4EI by L. Happy?
Yes, sir.
So have we now generated element stiffness matrix? Answer is yes. What is the element stiffness matrix? It is a 4 cross 4 matrix. Happy?
Yes, sir.
1, 2, 3 and 4. 1, 2, 3 and 4. This is U1, U2, U3, U4. Elemental degrees of freedom. U1, U2, U3 and U4. Are you with me? What is the element? What is K11? So let us go back and look at 12 EI upon LQ. Happy? 12 EI upon LQ. Are you with me, Ganesh?
Yes, sir.
We will just complete this and then you can go for the next lecture. So what is K, or is it, or it has already begun?
I think so. Oh, 11:30 is lecture time.
But in timetable it is 11:45. Anyway, let us leave it to him. So let him take the lecture. Now we will stop here. Your task, complete this stiffness matrix today. Are you with me?
Yes,
This is
sir.
element stiffness matrix, and then we will extend on this and we will assemble it to global stiffness matrix. Just one thing to note, whether it is element number 1, 2, 3 or 4, this matrix is not going to change. Only the value of EI is going to change as per that element. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
That's the power. So element कैसे भी oriented हो, element stiffness matrix will always remain unchanged if you write it in terms of local degrees of freedom. Happy?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So let us stop here for today. Write your attendance and then you can leave the class.